Getting started. And this is our loadout. Pretty much everything is loaded out at this point. Got the sound systemo. The bag with all my cords and stuff in it. And easy shelter put over it. 2 easy ups, my ladder. All my literature and stuff. Mr. Megaphone. Banner box. Hopefully we can make a banner this year. Literature table. Cards decorated on this side and on the other side. Hard to see the other side quite yet. Banner up, banner got away from us a little bit. Get on that. Getting started. This is all started. Table set up. This park isn't any cleaner than it usually is on a given day here, so we'll definitely be able to make an improvement on the condition of the park this year. So that's my pre-startup report. Waiting for the band.
Thank you all for coming out. The man standing right in front of me is Paul Pearson. He's our co-organizer. He assists me with all the things I do here on this side of the state with Cures Not Wars. He is also chief of the peace police. So all the peace officers, all the volunteers, I'm going to ask you to come up to the front here, come up close, and he wants to meet with you and give you a few words, a little bit of training. And then we're going to kind of kick it off with a crash start here because we have a celebrity in town this year, and we want to allow him to come here and do his stuff in his style. So we have the ever famous Adam Brook.
Oh, cool. She should have come to mine, too.
Let me give you a hint.
No, listen, I got to call you later. I'm in the middle of something here. Okay?
No truer words have ever been said in the media. So let me bring you on Adam Brook. He is the man, the face, the voice of the Ann Arbor Hash Bash. And, he gave a speech several years ago that inspired me. He told me about these guys called the Freedom Fighters who would go around the country to where they were having pot events. And they would be the ones who would help out with the buckets and help out with the tables and to put up signs and carry banners and things like that. And so I was inspired by that. In 92, I had a chance to exercise that with Jack Harrer's hemp tour when it came through my campus at Purdue University. So this is a man who's at least been responsible for bringing one strong activist leader into this movement, and I'm sure there's going to be many more of those stories. And of course, Adam Brook was here a few years back in 2004, and of course all I needed him to do was go to his office in the Pemscott building and come back with a boombox. He could have been a hero that morning, but he decided to go somewhere else. But he's here today, and he's put a bang-up effort toward this event this year, and so I say, the knocks are now kudos, so kudos to you, Adam Brook. Thanks for coming out, and bring us our special guest.
Thank you, Jay. Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure if I should apologize or what for my inspirations. But I tell you, it's real nice to be down here in downtown Detroit. As a resident of the city of Detroit, I'd like to welcome you to my neighborhood. And it's kind of cool. I've been talking since we've been doing these May marches and May rallies that Detroit would be a great place for like another hash bash. Because the one thing you may know about the city of Detroit is that we're broke. And because we're broke, we don't have a police force. We have a small police force, but they're much busier working on big problems like hard drugs and the prostitution that lives in my neighborhood. They also have to protect Mr. Illich's stuff here. So I've always thought that if we brought 5,000 or 10,000 people out to Grand Circus Park and all smoked weed, we'd get away with it and there'd be like 0 arrests because nobody cares. So tell all your friends that next year this is the place to come get high. Also, well, it would be the first Saturday in May, I would assume, next year. That's kind of the easiest way to remember things. reason we moved Hash Bash to the first Saturday in April was we found we got a bigger crowd because people didn't have to cut out of work and school in order to show up at our noon rally. So first Saturday is always a good day for an event. But one thing I like to do is always give people a little tidbit and piece of warning and information. And one thing I figured out when I was standing at the microphone on the Hash Bash on the Diag was watching people, and I've learned something very valuable. It's not the puffing, it's the passing that gets you busted. So my suggestion is to everybody roll their own, smoke their own. Don't necessarily pass it because someone might be watching. And nobody passes a cigarette, so. Unless, of course, your friend's John Sinclair, and he'll be bumming one, so. You can always pass John a cigarette. But it is my honor to introduce this next gentleman because without him, in many parts of the world, there would be no marijuana movement at all. Because prior to him, it wasn't a movement. And because of him, a movement has formed. So, you know, it's fun to travel around with this guy because he meets people, you meet people who say, hey, I remember when, and I was there when, and he always gets to say, yeah, but I helped start that. So it's real fun to work with him, and you'll certainly enjoy hearing from him. So with great honor, I'd like to introduce the legendary John Sinclair.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Tiger Stadium. I might be legendary, but I ain't no goddamn celebrity, and I stand opposed to the celebrity culture. I'm a guy who used to live over here on 2nd Avenue on the John C. Lodge Freeway. I spent quite a few months in the Wayne County Jail over here to my right. So, I'm just here because I'm in town and Adam asked me to come by, and I want to send a shout out to my pal Dana Beal in New York City, who founded the Million Marijuana March. I'm going to be with him next week at the Yippie Museum Cafe. I don't really have much of a message this morning, except it's good to be out here with everybody. I'd like to see about 1 million more, but they don't really have 1 million people in Detroit anymore, so I don't know. They used to have 2 million around 1950, but it's been quite a precipitous decline. But I see like Jesse Crawford used to say, they talk about all these honkies sitting on all that money telling me they're high society. They ask me, this is the high society. You. Many of you could probably remember those words from the B-side of the MC5 movie album recorded live at the Grandie Ballroom. Yeah. So what have I got to tell you? Have a joy, get high, keep fighting for the legalization of marijuana? You already know all that. I'm just going to bore you half to death. So I'm going to say thanks for being here, thanks for having me, and let's keep hitting until they give up.
All right, John Sinclair, everybody. This is what we're talking about, man. We have a movement here, and it's been going on a long time, and I know this fellow's hair is gray. I know my beard is starting to turn gray this year, and people are still going to prison for pot. Well, that shit ain't right, and I tell you what, too, if it's not going to be normal, I sure don't want it to be the AARP to be the organization that finally legalizes pot. Sure, I got Adam Brook. He's got to do me a favor before I let him back on the mic, though.
This, you know, I forgot I had this with me. And I actually really love this quote, so I'm going to read it because I can. And I gave away a joint to do this. Broke my own rule of passing the weed, right? Now, I carry this quote for a number of reasons. One of which is I like some of the language that's used. Also, these were the words of the U.S. Commissioner of Narcotics, Mr. Henry Anslinger. Harry Anslinger, excuse me.
Anslinger.
And back in 1937, he was testifying in front of Congress about this stuff called marijuana that nobody had ever heard of, really. So he had to inform the Congress people of what this stuff was and who was using it. And this is the quote that I like to give. Henry, whose name was really Harry, but because we smoke a lot of weed, we confuse him. Harry said, "There are 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the U.S.
That's all?
And most, this was 1937, man, there weren't all that many people in this country. And most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers.
And Hungarians.
Their satanic music, jazz, and swing result from marijuana usage." Now, here's where it gets really good. This marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and any others. Now, if there's a product on this planet that can cause white women to sleep with any others, I'm all for it, all right? Because I ain't no entertainer.
Oh, you're entertaining.
So, I like to tell people, I like to read that. Generally, I like to read it in mixed company. I read it everywhere I go in Detroit, and I'm never at an event in Detroit that's this white, I gotta tell you, so this is unique for me. But remember, it's these people that convinced other people by saying shit like this that they should make all these laws and penalize us and lock us up for smoking weed that all it seems to do is make people enjoy themselves and fuck each other. So what's so wrong with that, right? So that's all. I just wanted to thank you.
All right, thanks again, man. Thanks again. We're going to put it to good use here. Okay, we got basically the beginning of the rally here, and we got a couple things we got to tie down first. I want to start this day correctly for my own purposes, and I make a lot of sacrifices to put on an event like this. I'm Jay Statzer. I'm the organizer of this event today, responsible for everything that happens in this park and everything that happens on the other side there, where we're going to have some drum circle action and some fun acoustic stuff. It's all on me, and so I need all of you to show me that you're righteous, hip people who aren't a bunch of drunks that come in and screw the place up, but are hippies who are here to make the world around you a better place. I think that's not going to be too much of a problem, and so it's not going to be that hard for me to make it as safe, fun, and easy as possible for you guys to come out here and get your own piece of the movement today. But one of the things I sacrificed is that I didn't get to go to church this morning. And so we're going to have a little bit of a church service here to kick this event off in, I think, the most appropriate way, because we're here as a loving movement sharing truth. And that's what my church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, does too. It's a loving movement sharing truth. So we're going to begin today with the scripture reading, and it's my favorite scripture. It's Revelation 13:11, because when you look at Bible prophecy, this is the one that points most directly to our present era. So it says, "And I saw another beast that came out of the earth.
The peace officers know.
And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." Now, I don't have the time to go into it, but the first beast is the Roman Catholic Church that brought us the Dark Ages. The second, the land beast, is the beast that we are living in the belly of today here in America, the world power that will someday combine church and state and begin a wave of repression that would make the Pope of the Dark Ages blush. And we all need to be aware of these certain truths. I did a special Bible study for this event. I looked at the number 420 in Scripture. And you'll find that there's a lot of 420 verses in Scripture, and every single one of them in the New Testament is useful. So some of my favorite ones, of course, John 4:20. 1 John 4:20 is, if you claim to be a Christian and yet you don't love your neighbor, then you're a liar. But Acts 4:20, if you're an activist, you're going to want to look at Acts 4:20 because it simply says, "For we cannot but speak the things we have seen and heard." The things we have seen and heard are so unspeakable. The injustices we've seen, the trampling of the truth that we've seen. And we can't prove all these things quite yet. Sure, we can come here and be safe and effective and reasonable and intelligent, productive marijuana users or cannabis consumers in this country. But the government looks on that as an anecdote. We have a woman here who relies on cannabis medicine for her multiple sclerosis. We call that living proof. The government calls that an anecdote or anecdotal evidence. That's because we have a beast that speaks like a dragon. And how does the dragon speak? It lies, it intimidates, it threatens, it tricks, it manipulates. And when you get high and you separate yourself from the mainstream American culture, you are opting out of that culture. You are hearing the second angel's message that says, "Come out of her." That is what we all are doing in our hippie cultures. We are coming out of her. We are coming out of the beast system. And we are coming into the light of the truth. And when you get close to the truth, you get closer to God. And I can think of no greater source of strength or reassurance than that. So I want to turn you on to one other thing before we have a hymn. And that is, in 1 Corinthians, it says, everything you do, you should do to the glory of God. Now, certainly you can't shoot heroin and destroy your body to the glory of God. But you can smoke cannabis to the glory of God. And when that cannabis burns, when you see this plant was a pinnacle of the plant kingdom, the most significant and important plant that God ever put on this planet, that there was a whole day of creation just for creating the plants. And if there's a final day at the end of our time, when all burns up, when you light your plant, the king of the plants, you are sacrificing the herb, and it will burn up, just like everything will burn up on the day that Jesus comes back to save us. So I praise God for that. And I say on this day, this wonderful Sabbath day, that I recognize you, Lord, and I appreciate the wonders of your creation. Thank you for creating the seed-bearing herb. Thank you for creating the cannabis seed-bearing herb. Thank you for allowing me to have this particular sample of it and to be in the safe company of you cool hippie people. God, forgive America for making this plant illegal. But I'm doing what I can about it, and so are all of you. So in Jesus' name I pray and I praise before I smoke. Amen.
From Ohio, honey. If you come to Ohio, you can come to my store. As long as you have an ID that says that you're over 18.
And now we shall have a hymn, and then we're going to go straight into some speeches.
None other than the mighty bounty killer, along with you the band. Yeah! Yes, Malaya, I mean him Junior Gang, you know. Now you need DJ Jet. Watch out. No man. Watch it now. Well, I mean them Junior Gang, me sell you for me not it all. Who know me from them see me a leave it up. And I said like you boot and coffee suit, you think me go walk all over. Well, I mean DJ don't know say they be fast. You walk the grip is a fire fire. In America, me a city till it's not. Every till you come in to keep them on all live at all. Go then flip it, flip it, mine now we matter. No people like Yosemite, some winter when we are war. And they better know a vehicle and they better map with car and keep a distance to us. Come on, we pull the place as well. You can run for the uptown man, them but we and them up. dreadlocks up. And politicians I drive them dark and them must come over here. When them don't jump on the edge, your ugly face are wide if you. Man of your fit in a gun, a man of your fit in a suit. I don't live a skull, a war and then all in my flesh and blood. Someone that run down Grammy for the gunman for the year. And when them people have been in it in a fear. Wash up them on them back and I'm a one desert, I don't have food up here. Got my sense and butter here. And they pull across a rise and they not nearer than the fear. And also make it feel news, the heads are government up here. And the money they wash their afraid, I got this great up here. Can the end of the picnic school we come to NIU? Can the youth themselves they get them and you cannot do it. Just a man right now walking a man no more than them can. Catch a fire, eat a box of television and be well. Flash it up, dreadlocks up. Flash it up, flash it up. All the one, the living has shoot them up. But we said it number one, you cannot see that is the plan. Any golden bullion, come on and young bullion. Like Evie and Julian, Rasta them no coolie man. Babylon them truly wrong. Oh, them want me coolie man. Oh, them want me give me drugs. And them want them truly long. I no fool, call me side the schoolie man. Oh, them fi try the coolie down. Them say Bounty is the beast in the higher with the Yoda. Come here into it long. And I am told I said them a high roller. Them a give me in the stroller.
On Link TV, they had a documentary, Having the Rule of Law, and they showed film of him in this car, and they're banging.
Hello, hello, hello.
I'm handing this over to Susan Sunshine now for you. I'm still the organizer, but I got a lot of work to do, so it's a real blessing to have help for people that have come out and hold down the MC duties for me a little bit. So this is your couple hours here, okay, Susan?
Oh, I'm going to be on for a couple hours. I doubt that. But I'm one of the MCs. I may not introduce everybody. I may be off somewhere to see the wizard or take a whiz or something. As far as bathrooms, I guess if you go in Subway, if you're nice enough, they haven't said anything to me. I am disabled, so I would tell them if they don't let me go, I'll sue them. But everyone should have the same right to pee as we do to smoke pot and to look at dandelions not getting stomped. We might tiptoe through the tulips, but we stomped on the dandelions, just like we stomp on people in Vietnam. We stomp at people in Iraq. We stomp on people in Darfur. We gotta stop this. I'm known as Susan Sunshine, the Earth Poet, so some of the times when I'll go off on something else, it will be about the planet. But it's all about the planet. And as Marvin and I were talking today, if we don't stop this, the bees are only going to have 4 more years before they're all dead, and then we'll only have 4 more years. And it won't be 4 more years like the shit for brains president that we have, or some of the other ones. I mean, it's totally ridiculous to keep treating people like they don't have minds of their own. And fear is false evidence appearing as real a lot of times. And I would say, keep smoking, eat the weed, do anything you want with it, wear it, grow it. It's one of the most wonderful things on the planet. Like I say, I compare it to the dandelion. It looks like little sunshines, and God just gives it to us. He just puts it down there. We don't even have to plant it. And what do? Most of the chemical companies, that's how they sold the plant. You know, the idea to spray is because of the dandelion. Anyway, starting to get up early. Oh, you're not? Okay. I've just been told by Renee Emery, who is the main reason I came up here at this time to introduce, because she's a wonderful, wonderful speaker in person and knows knows firsthand why we need medical marijuana. Even more than we need it for other things, but maybe not. It's all good. I also take it because I'm disabled. I have invisible disabilities. You can't see them. And even if I took my clothes off, you couldn't see them. So I won't take my clothes off since we're not out in the country. But anyway, Rich Burkett, if you're ready to come up and speak, I haven't been given a rap sheet here on who's coming up because we're being kind of informal, which is what it is. But right now, I want to introduce to everybody, and thank you all for coming out. Let more people know about it. I hope more people are going to show up. And if he came out just because there was a celebrity here, he did tell you he's not. And we all are, and we're all not. It's important to have an ego so that you can get up here and speak. But it's good to have a little humility because all of us here are important. We're all doing something to help, even just by being here. Thank you very much. I love you all, and I hope to be up here to chit-chat and wrap down a little bit more later.
Thank you. I'm not down with walking. Okay. As you may have heard earlier, my name is Rich Burkett. I first started getting active. Well, actually, activism goes back to the very first hash bash in Ann Arbor back in 1972. It was just after John Sinclair, who spoke earlier, was released from prison, serving 2.5 years out of a 9.5 to 10 year sentence for giving an undercover cop a couple of joints. The cop actually trapped John Sinclair. Why he didn't win on that issue, probably because the way that they were predisposition. But it's just totally ridiculous that someone asking for joints and they're going to prison for that was pretty much the start of it. I was living in Ann Arbor, going to the University of Michigan, and it was late March, and flyers appeared around campus in 1972 advertising a hash festival. And they were totally anonymous flyers, so nobody had responded for it, but there was maybe 400 and 500 people that showed up on the diet that year. And the very next year, it grew by word of mouth. There was no advertising at all.
The Emperor just showed tail today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can usually $25.
The very next year, there was perhaps 2,000 people, and Ann Arbor's own state rep, Perry Bullard. Does anybody remember Perry Bullard? I'm showing your age if you do. He was always on the very front lines of legalizing pot. He actually smoked a joint. Got his picture taken. He really got censored.
I think that was the show and tell.
Went on for very long. I know.
So sorry. Not my deal. I just want to help out.
Very favorable.
I did set something up for Joe, whatever,
Unfortunately died. And so for until about the mid-80s, there was absolutely that's when it was all back in 1986 or 87. We got together with High Times and we decided High Times would be
You guys into that? Growing your own? Yeah. You live in Ohio. It's very dangerous there.
They got to at least 10,000
In Ohio, it seems like
one of the reasons was that was because the university was fighting the students to they got smart when they decided not to fight anymore.
Yeah, for possession, we 100.
Did you go to mine?
Under 100 grams.
I met Renee Emery. She came up to me. I really didn't know too many people that were using marijuana.
Those are all show and tell. Yeah. Just to let you know what kind of things are out there.
I didn't even get medical marijuana. She started heating up.
I put on it. Plenty out here.
For her, she was sclerosis. We got long friendship since. It's always good. So, Renee's going to be our next speaker. And Renee, you want to come over here? I'll give up the seat. You want to do okay. All right. Well, the hash bash this last year was fairly unorganized. It's probably a good thing because the temperatures were only very windy and snowing. And we didn't have a PA, we didn't have anything anyway. So
they got hemp toaster waffles.
People about the wonders of the hemp plant?
next year, we'll make sure that all the hopefully the warm weather.
All this stuff down here is made out of hemp. A little bit of water and chlorine and that paper down there is what he pressed out of it.
I want you to give a big Detroit hand to Renee Emery, a medical marijuana activist. Not only uses it for herself, but cares about everybody else that wants and needs to use it. She's been to Washington and a senator's office and smoked it there. She's willing to take all kinds of breaks for all of us. She's very courageous. My wonderful friend, give a big hand for Renee Emery.
Give her a hand, literally.
But everybody's got to do what I have to say. What I have to say is something very different. Has anybody ever heard of an antibody?
Yeah, I have.
Every human being has in their brain cannabinoid receptors. When those cannabinoid receptors and cannabinoids are matched together in the brain, an andamide is automatically produced. An andamide is tantamount or very important to anabolism occurring. Anabolism being the buildup of human cell structure. No wonder I smoke it to feel better. Anyways, everybody needs to hear about an andamide because every human being has cannabinoid receptors in their brain. And why is this drug illegal? It's not even a drug, it's a plant. I've been through the mill. I got busted for growing my own medicine. And I can put a seed in the soil, add sunlight and water, and have a plant. What's the problem? Oh, the law. Okay, I can't deal with that either. But we have to do this because we are the only ones that can. Because we are the only ones that care. And this is a monumental feat to get it legal for medicine. And in 2008, we will be able to speak our minds and get it out. and have it legal for medicine, if nothing else. And and I can't believe there's so many people here, but there's going to be so many more, because this is a wonderful event. And thank you all so much for being here and for participating. And to become an activist is a personal choice. And it is a monumental event, because I have become an activist out of necessity. And I am the first MS patient ever tested with government-issued marijuana. And cannabidiol is exclusively what I've used since 1985 to treat my condition. And you saw me walk over here. I wasn't walking very well, but I was walking. I was told 28 years ago that in 3 to 5 years I would permanently be in a wheelchair. And I was supposed to be dead after 25 years with this lovely sport. Well, I've had it for 28 years, and I'm still walking. Thank you all so much for recognizing that as being a fact. And I appreciate it, because I don't know how I keep going, but I do. And I use it or lose it. And I've already lost too much. I'm not going to lose anymore. I don't give up. I don't give in. And I'm just here for the beer, and I still don't drink. But I'll turn the mic back over to Susan. Oh. Okay. I'm just having a ball with it all. Because I know, I feel the love. I feel that God put us here that we might help and share and care and love one another as best we can. And if we can't help, leave it alone. But why don't more people want to help? Because we're all in this lovely experience called life together. So why not? Because that's what we have to do. Because we do love one another and care about one another. And thank you all so much for all your patience. And you have a blessed day.
That's what it's all about, helping each other. I'm also disabled because of pharmaceuticals. I am a medical marijuana user also, even though I started when I was 19 and didn't know about it then. I already was sick, but it made me feel good and happy. I've been on steroids since 1957, and I'm only 30. But I've been on them, I'll be on them 50 years in July. It's one of the worst drugs ever. It makes you a freak. I've written poems about it. I'm an iatrogenic freak. I'm not your ordinary geek. But if it wasn't for marijuana, I'd be in a lot of pain. I wouldn't probably use my mind as much to think how to research all the other things I need. One thing I like people to know, as wonderful and important as marijuana is, and it should be legalized, it's not the only good thing on this earth. And there's a lot of other herbs and good food. We could really turn ourselves around, so we could turn so much more around if we just open up our minds. I know that's why the government doesn't like marijuana. There is something in it that makes you happier. I don't know what it, I'm not a scientist. Maybe some people, because we're all different, and that's why we need education, and we could have books on how to use it or how much. But I know when I use it, I don't become lazy. I really resent that lazy, whatever they put in the paper about us, that we're all just going to lay down on the street and drool or something. I'm not an ordinary fool. I've been to school, and I know that marijuana makes me so much happier, so much more open. I get more done. I'm not saying sometimes I don't take too much. This one time at a party, the brownies were so good I kept eating them, and boy, I slept through most of the party. You know, you gotta regulate what you take.
Nothing is time.
But for the most part, it gets me up, pain's gone, I get the dishes done, I get the bills paid, I get the phone calls done, I get out and about and sing and dance and try to be as happy as I can in this world that doesn't give a damn too much about people. Why? I don't know. Since these shit-for-brain people in politics are supposedly people too. I'd like to go to Cheney's house and see if his heart is artificial. I know it's sure cold. And when I see all those people down in Katrina and all these other places suffering, and we take away the real medicine from the earth and shove pharmaceuticals in people's faces to make them dumb and numb and not caring what happens. Get in front of the TV, get your beard, take your job, and shove it up their asses. Sorry if I'm swearing too much, but I know at least I'm not a sexist or a racist or an ageist, and I'm not a celebrity, so I can say shit, fuck, piss, damn, and all that shit. So anyway, poetic justice is so much better than being in politics. But the next person coming up is an old, and I don't mean that derogatorily, friend of mine that I've known for many years. His name is Marvin. He's tried to get into politics. You know, it's kind of hard when you're not like corrupt or super well known or something. But Marvin has been an activist for years. He's had a home that he turned into an earth community before it was even popular to talk about the earth. Did a lot of networking where many of us got to meet where we wouldn't have otherwise and get together and do things. And he's coming up to speak now. He's also a professor. He's very bright. He's very funny at times. My friend and yours, I hope. Am I too loud, Marvin? And since he's Marvin, you can always say to him, like I do, hello, Marvin, come, up, here, now. Because it's funny sometimes just to be a hoot. And since he's got a double first name, hello, Marvin!
Thank you, Susan. First thing, can someone turn down the sound? Please. You really need to be that loud. Am I too loud? And this shouldn't be stuck here like this. All right. Hello. Jay is doing a wonderful job. He's the one-man band. He's the MC of sorts and the organizer, and he comes in all the way from somewhere else, Kalamazoo area, to help us get this together. So, Jay, yay, let's hear it for Jay. Now, the disappointment, to be real, is that after 30 years of political activism in the marijuana movement, it's rather sad that this is the most that we could turn out, isn't it? I mean, if you look around. I mean, you guys should be congratulated for being here, but where are the 100 million others that should be here today, right? So, obviously, this is a fantastic place to have an event. This blue from the sky, and we are actually inviting any bees that happen to be in the neighborhood. Please identify yourself. We are looking for bees, honeybees in particular. We will give you amnesty. You know, I think I figured it out. The bees are pissed because we've been exploiting them, like, since the beginning of time. You know what I mean? We've been like, they work hard to get all this honey together, and as soon as they do, we snatch it away from them. And after doing that for the last 50,000 years, the bees are pissed. So they said, well, I think we'll just die off and we'll take all of civilization with us. It's kind of, don't you agree? So, I mean, that's an analysis. What do you think's happening with the bees? Is it as serious as I think it is, like the end of all, human existence, or most human existence on the planet because of mass starvation and famine and things like that?
It's pesticides. It's pesticides.
That's the bad news. The good news is marijuana is good for you. It makes you think more creatively. and that's what I do. I use it so I can think more creatively, and I can be like I feel better when I'm high. How about you? Do you feel better when you're high?
Why do you think we're smoking?
And since I started speaking, half the audience has left. And I can't see why. I won't talk about the bees dying anymore, I promise. I'll just talk about the fact that it's a beautiful day and we're having fun, and we're going to do this again because we love it, and we're glad you're here. Because young people...
You got to grub, man.
You got to do what?
Get some grub.
Well, get some grub. You're having a chance to hear Marvin speak. Who's heard of Marvin before?
Yeah.
At the hash bash, I said, who's heard Marvin? We're going to thousands of people here. Because I say, give me an H. Oh, by the way, we're playing a game. Give me an H. H. Give me an E. E. Give me an M. M. Give me a P. P. What's that spell? M. What's that spell? M. That's what I'm famous for. I'm the crowd pleaser. Yay! I can sing, I can dance. You know, is Tommy Spaghetti still here? Because he was here earlier and he had some far out accordion music with the hemp thing. He's not here. Too bad. How sad.
He'll be back.
And then we have to acknowledge Paul. Paul right there. Paul is the man who put his own money up. He put up hundreds of thousands of dollars of his own money to produce this event. So we appreciate Paul doing that. Because what we have discovered is this is magnificent, this whole thing. You know, and if they only would turn the water on, we'd all get wet. And we can all jump in here and get naked and smoke weed and pretend it's the 60s. Like, what was it? Smoke, dope, and, oh wait, sex?
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
What's that again?
Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Come on, 1, 2, 3.
Everyone, hello? Sex,
drugs, rock and roll. Thank you.
There you go. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. Many others created a benefit for John Sinclair. To free John Sinclair, it was an Ann Arbor rally with, of course, John Lennon and Allen Ginsberg. And out of that, the same day as the concert was the day that the Michigan Supreme Court declared that law illegal, saying that this was cruel and unusual punishment for John to get 10 years for 2 joints. So for a while, marijuana was actually decriminalized here in Michigan, and then back about 1992, they recriminalized it. And that slipped by because we really have not had a very effective marijuana movement in Michigan. Until now, until today, where we have all across the state, we have activists who are willing to take on projects like getting marijuana legalized for medical purposes statewide. We've done it so far in the city of Detroit and in Ann Arbor, Ferndale, Traverse City, and recently Flint. We've had 5 electoral victories, which means we're going to do something for medical marijuana this year with an initiative. We're going to need your help, your support, your enthusiasm, and I know we can do it. I hope we can do it. It's a bold statement that we have a right to control our own destiny. I am a professor, by the way, of political science, and I've been involved with this movement since about the beginning of time. And I'm worried about the bees because I have 2 grandsons, and I don't want them to grow up in a bee-less world, because I believe that everyone. And I wish they had invented, a way to get us to a different planet. You know what I mean? I wish we had invented space travel, so we could fly off and screw up a different planet, because we've already pretty well messed up Earth. But those of us who go on a spaceship have to promise that we're not going to screw up the next planet. Isn't that interesting? That's just my theory. And I'm so glad to see Josh here. Josh, yay! Woo! Hi, Josh. We have peace officers. No, Susan, I was told I can talk as long as you want. I want to talk.
Absolutely.
I want to talk and talk and talk and talk. Do you want me to get off?
No.
Oh, good, because, but we have a band, right?
There's a band eventually.
What's it called?
James and the Rain Bros.
James and the Rain Bros?
Yes.
Wow. When are they scheduled to come on?
Later.
Later. Okay, so I can talk and talk and talk and talk. Because it's fun to talk and talk and talk and talk. Because I've never talked here before. So far, I started to be an activist. Let me tell you a story. How? My daughter was a student at U of M, Ann Arbor, right? There was a hash bash there. I had never been to a hash bash. In fact, I had sworn off weed entirely. You know, one of those, you get so high you don't want to smoke weed anymore. So I went to the hash bash with her, and she wasn't smoking either. And then we got there early, and then some guy came by, some really cool young guy, and he said, "Molly, you want to smoke some weed?" And she said, "No, I'm not going to smoke today." And then he went away, and then I said, "Molly, maybe this is not a good idea for us not to smoke weed today on hash bash day." So she said, "I knew you'd change your mind, Daddy." And she took out her hash pipe, and she turned her daddy on. And that's when I became an activist. At the Ann Arbor hash bash, hearing John Harrer speak. Oh, am I not being clear? I'm sorry. I thought I was. But I'm a pothead, you know? I'm a pothead professor, you know? And it's interesting to say that in front of God and country, but I have no fear. You know, if this was Soviet Russia, we would have fear. I don't understand why more people aren't active politically when you can do it and not be afraid of being arrested by the Gestapo. No, we don't have to worry about it, right? You can probably say, in America, I smoked dope? I guess you can't. Damn it, I thought this was a free country. Oh shit. Let's see, Susan Sunshine is wearing a great t-shirt that says, good girls go to heaven, bad girls go to Amsterdam. Good girls. Yes, Susan. But the rest of you guys, you know, we need to, there's nothing really we can do. I mean, the world is basically at an end. You can't create bees, and neither can I. Only God can create bees. So if there are no more bees, you might as well kiss your behind goodbye. And just enjoy the ride, because if it's the end of time, you're the lucky people that got to live at the end of time, you know? Just think, if you could have chosen any time to live, you'd say, I want to live at the end of time. I mean, it's going to go on, but the big bang is going to come, probably in 2012. So the Mayan calendar has us to believe, and I believe it's true, because, you know, President Bush is the president, and we love him so much. He's such a wise man, so brilliant, so intelligent. So that wasn't treasonous, right? I said good things, but you could tell I was being sarcastic when I was saying all those good things about George Bush. I really didn't mean it. I was like lying and shit. I really think he's not the best president we ever had. And it's really strange that he became president when Al Gore would have made such a better president. Yeah. So now we have a Democratic election coming up and a Republican election, and I don't know who you support. Who do you support? That one good guy is a guy who's the governor of New Mexico who signed the bill legalizing medical marijuana. And his name is
Bill Richardson.
Bill Richardson. He actually voted to sign the bill to legalize medical marijuana in his state. So I think that should be a good consideration. He would be the only one I would vote for.
They go back 30 years. In 2006, they were talking about the bullets these boys made in Iraq made of uranium.
Al Gore for the bees.
When these boys come back and have babies, they're going to be born without faces.
Oh, I was just going to introduce Michael.
Be born without arms, legs.
Okay, then I'm going to
And we don't care, because we're not testing them.